Have you ever felt a sense of unease when you're just sitting around and not doing much? A sort of unease similar to the low humming noise that an AC makes, but instead it's in your head. You try to distract yourself with entertainment, chores, but at the end of the day, it's still in there. You're not missing on that girl who's not texting you back. You're not missing out on those sneakers either. What you're missing is a purpose.
Purpose can have many different definitions. For some, it could be the meaning of life. For others, it could be the reason that they wake up every single day. Ultimately, it can be summed up to be one's passion in life or the thing they feel like they were meant to do. Most people go through life without ever finding their purpose. Based on how the world works now, people are constantly chasing dopamine. Therefore, they fill up all their time with social media, drugs, alcohol, and even women. However, these are all distractions that make it harder for you to find your purpose, let alone pursue it. Therefore, you must quiet the noise and distractions.
It's definitely not easy. And because we're so used to the way that we do things, we don't really even consider how we do them or what we do. And our routine lifestyles are just sprinkled with distractions. The first thing I used to do when I wake up was to pick up my phone, check Instagram and my messages. Then, on my way to work, I'll be scrolling on Instagram again. During lunch, more Instagram. In the afternoon, more Instagram. And then after I get off work, I'll be on my phone. You get the gist. We don't realize how much of our day is composed of distractions until we list them all out. So the first thing I would like you to do is to think back to your daily routine. Write out everything that you do from the moment you wake up till the moment you close your eyes. And you'll probably find that most of your day is composed of inefficiency. If you're happy with the ways things are, great. You can turn off this video right now. But if you're not happy with the way things are and you want to do something about it, then I invite you to find out those inefficiencies that you have in your daily life. Pick out something that you want to make a change on, and we can start from there. So say for example, you check Instagram 10 times a day. Make it 9 the next day, and reward yourself when you achieve it. Try to reduce it slowly day by day, and if you slip up, don't worry about it. It happens to the best of us. Just remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place if you ever doubt yourself. It could be that you're studying for a degree that you always wanted to complete, or a passion project that you wanted to start, but you just never got the time. And keep going until you find that you no longer need to go to these distractions instinctively anymore when you feel that sense of unease.
Do you even remember the last Instagram reel or TikTok you just watched? Do you know how many hours you spend on a daily basis on these distractions? If you really want to take it a step further, have you ever tried to calculate the hours spent in a week or a year on these distractions? When you really start to look at the bigger picture, you'll notice just how much time has been wasted and how many hours you could have spent on something meaningful. Only then will you be able to dig deep inside of yourself to find your purpose. It could take hours, days, weeks, or even years before you discover your purpose. Another way to discover your purpose is to look back on your childhood. Was there something you were passionate about or something that you excelled at? For me, I've always been drawn to football. Now this may sound cringy, but I've always had this burning desire for football. I just couldn't get enough of football. All I wanted to do as a child was play football with my friends, and I could do it for hours without getting tired or bored. I spent all day thinking about it, watching football videos on YouTube, talking to my friends about it. I basically lived and breathed football. These things tend to get hidden when you get older. Society, friends, or even your parents might tell you that it isn't cool or to get a real job, which tends to put people off things that they once would have enjoyed.
One thing I noticed is whenever I tell other people about my career plans or the things that I'm planning to do, is that they would naturally want to give their own 2 cents on the subject because everybody's perspective is different, and that's fine. But here's where it gets tricky. All those advice and suggestions would generate a noise around you. So you might be thinking, I've never thought about it that way. Or I can probably do it the way that guy told me to do it. And that's where the problem comes, because at the end of the day, they're not you. You're the only person who knows what's best for you in that situation. It's not about other people. It's never about other people. It's not about your friends, your family, your partner, or even your competitors. They're not the ones holding you back. You are the only person who can define your own success. So never ignore that gut feeling.
Just remember that most people, including your parents, want what's best for you, but they may not know what's actually best for you. It's also important to note that your purpose in life can change. It isn't fixed. If our purposes were fixed, we'd all probably lose interest in our life once we've achieved our purpose. Your purpose in life must come before everything. Without prioritizing your purpose, you'll end up feeling unfulfilled in your life. This means that every other aspect in your life won't be able to attain your full attention, as part of it is stuck on your purpose. Women would rather have 100% of your attention for a shorter period of time than a longer period of time with a distracted presence.
And in retrospect, I always lacked purpose. For years, I've been doing things just because it was what most other people were doing. And I never gave it too much thought as to why I'm doing it for myself, because I never had a higher purpose. And here's the thing, most people get confused about getting into university, getting into a job, or getting a girlfriend, or whatever. These things fall into place when you have a higher purpose. You get into university because you want to get that degree, you want to make a change. You get that job because you want to bring something to the table. And you get that girlfriend because you have a higher purpose and she sees that in you. But I was very fortunate. I applied and got into university without any idea why I was doing it. I got my first job out of university and it was not something that I wanted to do at all. As for the girls I dated, I never took charge, I never led in a relationship because I was just going with the flow and I didn't know what my next step was. Life never gives you exactly what you want. But that doesn't mean you can't find the silver lining and try to make the best of it. Well, you can. You might as well, right? When I think back, there were many moments where I could have found my purpose and started to do something about it. But instead, I was too distracted by the things or people I thought would bring me happiness. I'm not saying I regret what I did in the past, because without those twists and turns, I wouldn't be sitting here with you and talking about my experience. I'm talking about this because if you're listening to this and you resonate with what I'm saying, then you can save years of searching in the dark.
Now let's talk about purpose and its impact on relationships. The more purpose-driven you are, the more control you'll have in your relationships. Now imagine a scale with one end of the spectrum being masculine and the other end of the spectrum being feminine. A person on the masculine end of the spectrum would be focused on his goals, purpose, and his ambitions, whereas a person on the feminine side of the scale would be focused on love and relationships. Therefore, by being purpose-driven means that you're a more masculine person. You won't have time to focus on other things. You won't have time for things to get in your way as you're chasing your goals, which as a result means you'll have more control in your relationships. Whereas swaying from your purpose and the things you need to do would result in your partner taking charge of the relationship, as you're catering to their needs before yours.
We tend to have this misconception where if we're patient enough, good things will happen to us somewhere down the line, or our luck is going to change somewhere in the future. But it won't. However, those who have a purpose and are chasing that purpose will realize that things will just fall into place, like meeting that girl who's supportive or getting that stuff that you always wanted. Although having a purpose has its own set of challenges, deep down you'll know that you're on the right path. But don't take our word for it. Try it out for yourself.